Back to the Red Podcast, man.
Absolutely. Edition 2.
Our weekly adventure into liberalism and its lunacy.
Absolutely.
So today, one of the big things this week I've been hearing about is actually the history of why people actually voted for Trump to begin with. We're still on this topic of why did the right and conservative people actually vote for Trump. I've seen tons of liberal things. We were just listening to something, a podcast that was really liberal. These people still to this day can't fathom why an intelligent person that isn't in the middle America, isn't, slack Joe yokel, why they would actually vote for Trump. Let me tell you why. Listen, I'm 29, and if you can't see through the bullshit, Democratic National Party, if you can't see right through it, I'm not even saying Trump is the greatest candidate that lived. I'm not saying I support everything he said. The corruptness that was going on there. The sheer fact that these people have been in charge already for 8 years, and even those last 4 years of Bush were a little shaky.
I consider them the same.
Yeah, it was pretty
12.
horrible. So considering all that, and then just people opening their arms and opening everything up, just let's do another 4 years of Hillary. Let's they fucked up these last 12 years. Let's just give them another little bit of time. No, just on the sheer fact alone of that, we cannot allow them to, keep going.
I completely agree. To me, it's pretty self-evident when people ask why we voted for Trump or why most of America, because whether you know or not, Trump did win the election after, not just the Electoral College, but when you get into, I know they're going to say, oh, it was even or whatever. They had all those fucking illegals. It was a clusterfuck, and that's been proven. But to sit here and ask someone like yourself, for me, why we voted for President Trump or why tens of millions of people did, or hundreds of millions, whatever the number was,
is so 60 million.
Yeah, it's so self-evident to me. It's like a smack in the face. Yeah. I mean, you said already, three people: Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, George W. Bush. Yeah. That's number one reason why. They've been fucking our country up for 12 years. Hillary Clinton obviously wasn't a president, but high position of power. I would bore the fuck out of everyone on this podcast if I listed all the things she did. It was a list as long as my arm. It
was from foreign to domestic.
Everything.
There was nothing that this lady wouldn't, succumb to and fucking destroy.
Exactly. She's like the opposite of Midas. Like everything she touches turns to shit. And it does. And the fact of the matter is that people are just burying the fact that there are so many murdered, dead people. The count is over 100 as we speak. Matter of fact, in the last year, it's probably about a dozen. And you hear nothing.
All this shit gets swept under the table.
Because the one thing you got to give credit to Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, and you got to give them props is their tentacles. Their corrupt, felonious tentacles, they run deep and they run high. And you go against Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton or even Barack Obama, 99.9% of the time, you're going to end up dead or missing. It's been proven.
It is.
I mean, I could throw name after name now, but I don't want to bore the shit out of everybody. But there are a lot of people, a lot.
Let's go into that a little bit, because a lot of people talk about, and a lot of things I hear on the loony liberals say are Russia. It's like a word that they can't get out of their mouths. Russia.
It finally stopped, I think, about a week and a half ago.
All right, I'm sorry to bring it back up again, but that guy, what was his name? Rich? The kid who got killed at 4 a.m.?
Yes.
People don't know. He was accused of maybe giving the Democrats secrets to Russia. Was that?
To Wiki.
To Wiki. Which was giving it to Russia.
Right. And to piggyback on that idea, there's a guy named Sean Lucas who worked, he was even younger. Well, I think they're both about the same age. I think Seth Rich was 28 or 29, and Sean Lucas was like 31, both healthy men. He was accused of he was working with Bernie, that jerk off, and he basically sent Wiki all the emails how Bernie got fucked. Here, all you Bernie supporters they're feeling the burn. Donald Trump did not fuck Bernie over. Hillary Clinton and the DNC fucked him over. So
big time.
He winds up, his girlfriend, she left him on, I think, a Thursday night, came back on Friday night, and he's sitting on his couch dead.
This is Sean Lucas.
And they don't, and they, as soon as they called it, it's funny because I always find this funny. If you and I go out and kill somebody, God forbid, you'd have the cops up our asses like a virus.
Oh God, they wouldn't stop.
Every single person.
The investigation would be long and thorough,
well,
my friend.
Every single person that she has killed, cold case, no witnesses, no murder weapon, no anything.
That's what the thing is about the rich thing. That's the most troubling thing is they called it a robbery. They didn't steal anything.
They stole nothing.
And they shot him in the back.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, there is fucked up kids out there, and especially in DC, but come on.
No.
Come on. If you can't put 2 and 2 together.
They're going to, listen, if you're a street kid, you're stealing his fucking Rolex.
Of course. And
I'm stealing it.
Didn't they say, like $500 in cash?
Money,
come on.
nothing.
Are you kidding?
They shot him and they took off. And listen.
It was such a setup.
Set up big time. And the funny thing is, if you mention this poor girl's name, Monica Peterson, nobody would know her. Not even Monica Peterson. Name like Susie Average in Middle America. Well, Monica Peterson was a journalist. She was 27 years old, attractive woman, on the heels in Haiti of Hillary Clinton and her fucking corruption, her thievery, her fucking pedophilia, and her murder, or whatever you want, homicides.
Yeah.
And guess what happened to Monica Peterson?
She's gone, right?
They found her dead. And guess where they found her dead? On the estate of Tony Rodham. So Tony Rodham, for you people that don't know, that's Hillary's brother. And Hillary has a lot of money. And but no, you don't hear anything. Nothing. And I think, and this is not funny, and I'm not trying to make fun of people dying, but I was listening to a podcast on my satellite radio. And there's this gentleman by the name of Victor Thorne. He hated Hillary Clinton. He was one of the biggest anti-Hillary people in America. He wrote books. He used to show up at her events. He wasn't a nut, but he would show up at her events and he'd be giving a different opinion, a polar opinion. If she was giving East, he's giving West, that type of thing. And he was on this podcast and he said, quote, "I'm a very happy man. I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal. If I end up dead, Hillary Clinton killed me." And from that podcast, 3 days later, he's dead. Called it a suicide. The guy on the podcast said, "I am not suicidal. I'm not on meds. I'm not," and he ended up dead.
Like the joke it's a long-standing joke. I feel like with the Democrats,
it's unbelievable.
Like, it's well, you know, there's no circumstantial evidence.
The whole fucking DOJ and the FBI.
It's a fucking sad world. But how they actually can get to their minds, like going back to why we voted for Trump and all that. This was not, but just knowing that, and then it's swept under the rug.
And people discuss it.
Why don't you want to discuss? This is not you, of course.
No,
why don't liberals want to discuss something like that? Because it's too scary.
No,
it's too real.
I think it's more than that. I think they know you paint them in a corner, and all they can then is say you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, how the fuck? Listen, I know a lot of people. So do you. No one's ever died that I know in a plane. I know I got 5,000 friends on Facebook. God forbid, no one's ever died in a plane crash. I read on Google, the odds of dying in a plane crash are 1 in like 5 million. She has like 12 people she knows. 12, all dead on a plane crash. And so you sit here and you say, holy fuck. And then
astronomical odds.
Yeah, like, listen, it's like hitting the fucking Powerball. She's hit it 12 times in a row. She's like, what is she, the most unlucky lady in the planet?
Yeah, it must be.
I mean, we're not even going back. I don't want to rehash, but we're not even going back to the Vince. That guy was so, and then on record, the hitman that killed Vince Foster, who ended up dead in a drive-by. How many drive-by shootings in fucking Arkansas?
Who the fuck lives in Arkansas?
Right. He what do you call it? He ended up dead. He is on record saying, "I killed these people for the Clintons." He said it, and he ended up dead.
It's unreal. That's unreal.
And how is it that she doesn't even get questioned?
It's
you know why, right?
Tell me.
The person who opens their mouth just disappears.
That's right.
These people are scared shitless.
Oh God.
It's scared shitless.
And that, like, just knowing that, even if she was saying the right stuff during her campaign, just knowing that shit alone, I still couldn't have voted for her.
Nope.
Even if she was saying tax reform, not raising taxes like she was saying to do.
Yeah, she did that complete. Yeah.
If she wasn't doing the opposite 180, oh my God, maybe I would have considered it. But she was such a fucking
we're not even
individual.
We're not even talking about policy. Yeah. We're talking about her fucking character.
Alone is so questionable that like how, and that's where it gets into, well, what about Trump? Trump he never was a politician. He was a playboy billionaire.
And I love it.
How do you expect a playboy billionaire to act?
Right.
So he wants to get into politics when he's older.
I love the fact he's not a politician. I love it.
Yeah.
Politicians
the whole reason.
have been fucking our country up for the last 25, 30 years.
And, they're scared about what he might do. I never heard this shit before in my life.
No.
What a president might do. We know what previous presidents did. Drone strikes that killed 90% civilians.
Yep.
That's from the Washington Times.
You don't hear one thing.
Now,
I love that word might.
It's unreal.
Like all of a sudden these liberal fucks have a crystal ball and they make these assumptions or these huge leaps of what he's going or might do. What the fuck? Like, it used to be in politics that you had to have fucking proof or some kind of evidence-based facts that we could discuss on what someone's going to do. Like you just mentioned, the drone strikes Obama did. He did them. Yeah. And he did them on American citizens. Yeah. You don't hear shit, but he did them.
I'm not even the Americans. That's a horrible thing. He would just, well, it looks like that could be terrorists.
Exactly.
What the fuck, dude? You don't know what the hell you're doing.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you killed the most people by drone, but how many were civilians? Oh, 90%.
And even like the whole, like, I don't want to go too much into the immigration thing, but the one thing that freaks me the fuck out is when I hear these liberals, even these liberal politicians, these fucking whacked out liberals saying Donald Trump and his immigration policy. Well, do your research, motherfuckers. Barack Obama did the exact same thing 18 times.
And so did Clinton.
And Clinton did it. And the reason why you don't know he did it because the media didn't report it. Exactly, all of them. Oh, but you didn't report it. So they're focusing on this guy doing the same thing all the prior guys did, but they're just harping on it because that's their what they were told they have to say. Because whether you know it or not, the media is being told what to say. And I also saw an interesting thing where they used basically an Excel spreadsheet. And they said all the people in powerful media positions today that have affiliations with either the Clintons or the Obamas through marriage, like they're either on their staff, they're related, brother, sister, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, that type of thing.
Ties run deep.
Exactly. And you say to yourself, now listen, these motherfuckers got tons of money. The DNC's loaded. They're supported by a guy like George Soros, who's the second richest man in the world, and some other jerk offs that we talk about all the time. You know, the Bilderbergs, the Rockefellers, all those guys. And then they own the media, and those men all own the media. How many you said? Four guys?
6
4,
people?
5, or 6. They own everything. So they own all the flow of information that normal Americans hear. And if it wasn't for podcasts like you and I are having shit.
That's what I was going to get to too. I wanted to ask you the question of like, we see through the fraudulent shit.
Yep.
We see right through it. We actually do. And that's not even doing much research, everyone. This is like, basic stuff, basic searches. And it's just like, are people that lazy? Are they really getting all their news through this mainstream media and not thinking for themselves? It brings me back to that willful ignorance line that I kept saying in the last podcast. It's just like they know.
So what's your opinion?
Know. I feel like
50-50?
No, I feel like this is my point is I feel like liberal people, I would say 50-50 of the liberal side know bad and all this, but they're too fucking lazy or too fucking, I don't know what to say. I don't want to call them heartless, gutless, because that's shallow and callous, but they don't want to stand up for themselves.
I was told by someone once, and it made a lot of sense to me, that political ideology is a religion.
Oh, it's a horrible religion.
So like, I'll give you an example. I always ask this, like, how can Jewish, and I'm not paying all Jewish Americans, but a very high percentage of Jewish Americans vote for Democrat. Yeah. And a lot of them, I don't know the exact number. I should have did my research on this, but it just came up to me now. But I would imagine that Jewish Americans,
it's a lot in New York,
probably 60, 65, 70 maybe percent, voted for Barack Obama, who hated Israel. Yeah. And one time I asked a conservative Jewish person, he's a guy I go to the gym with, this guy Alan, he's awesome. I said, Alan, why? And he said to me, because they're liberals first and Jews second. And I thought about that for a while. And I'm like, wow, like maybe it's not so much that they're lazy. Maybe they just don't want to know the truth. And maybe they're brainwashed to a point where they can't see. And Sal, you know as well as I do. We try to talk to liberals. Sal and I have a relative who we love very much. He's a good person, but trying to talk to him is like talking to this fucking table.
If it gets too serious or anything like that, he's just gonna crack a joke and he's gonna make it lighthearted and make it fun. It's like, I get it.
And he's a very bright dude.
Yes, I get it. That's what I'm saying. It's just like they don't want to get to the point of action. They want to just, all right, well, it's been like this for a while. It seems to be going all right for me. Let me just keep going this way.
Maybe that's going all right for you, and
it's not going the right way for anybody else. Like,
we're in some shitty shape, or we have been,
and it just creates cycles in life for certain communities, and it's very bad and very negative, and they can never seem to pull themselves out of it.
Nope.
And the only way to do it is actually get to, and that's something like I feel like that was a message not getting, or the message was getting through, but the message being relayed was they're going to take away all your welfare, all your funding, all this and all your that.
Mm-hmm.
Not if you're a good person, you're going to go to work and you're going to actually try. Like, this is what I don't. I have a story for you.
Go ahead.
When I first started working at that coffee shop I was working at, I was fresh out of college and I was going through a bunch of nonsense, and I was like, all right, I just want to work and make some money and work full time and see how I can do. I was doing it and I was struggling bad with money. In the first year, we were talking to this girl. She was in school. She was just like me. She was actually from Florida too. And she was like, well, why don't you go get food stamps? Why don't you go do this? Why don't you go do that? I was like, well, but I work and I'm not poor. I'm a college student.
Right.
She's like, yeah, but she's like, we all do that. You don't do that? And I was like, oh my God.
Right.
It's such a big answer to the question. They're just doing it for the freebies, for the free shit. This girl worked. Her parents had money. Yep. She did all this shit. She just they're giving it away, so I'm taking advantage. Right. I'm just like, wow, this is the mindset. This is the mentality that you have.
It's like, how low do you have to?
It's
I'll tell you, back in the 70s, people were embarrassed to be on food stamps. It was I remember I being a little kid in a grocery store.
They urge you to go on.
Right. Yeah, they encourage it. But I remember a woman empathy for someone because they didn't want to do it, but they needed it. Yeah. And that's fine. That's fine.
Of course, if people need it to fucking survive, of course.
Exactly. But nowadays, and then we're talking a mere 40 years ago, now it's done such a complete antithesis of what it was, where back then I remember being at the register and a woman had to pay for food stamps and she would look around and she would like sneak and everyone would kind of look at her like feel bad. Yeah. Nowadays, those fuckers just throw it out there like a badge.
Here's my card, my EBT.
Exactly. And listen, I were my buddy across the street, Scott. One day we were moving some furniture. We say, hey, listen, let's go over to Joe's Crab Shack, which is not a cheap place, right near us here on Route 3. And we go there and we're sitting down and place is packed. And all of a sudden I'm seeing everyone pulling out the credit card. It looked kind of weird. It comes up to us. I go, hey, can I ask you a question? I go, what are those people paying with? She goes, they're EBT cards. Yeah. I go, they're coming now. Him and I had dinner there. We had like one drink. The bill was $120. I'm like, it's a fucking lot of money. And there was families of like 4 and 5. So if we're $120. They were eating as much as more than us. Their bill had to be $300. And they're playing with the fucking EBT card. And you're like, I'm paying for their fucking meal.
Thousands they get for that.
Exactly.
Shit. It's on.
And they were happy and proud to give it. They were out there like,
of course. Then they're gonna go to the store and buy liquor with it too.
Exactly.
Like buy everything with that thing.
We become what the Democratic Party wants. They want everyone to become dependent, like slugs. And this is what always baffled me about the whole infatuation with a fucking bum like Bernie Sanders. Feel the burn, dickhead. The guy was unemployed until he was 41 years old. And he was growing up in good economic times. It ain't like now. So what the fuck are you voting? Like, I used to go crazy when people used to laud this guy. Because first of all, we could just talk about this shit that he didn't have a job ever in his life. Yeah. A grown-ass man never having a job in his life. So at 41, he's still collecting welfare, which is baffling. I mean, go do something. Go fucking flip burgers.
Yeah,
He did nothing. He collected off the fucking system like a leech. Then you can get into just his performance as a senator. He fucked up Vermont. Vermont is one of the most fucked up states in the country, and it's about this big.
What, fiscally, financially?
Yeah, it's about that fucking big. So it's about this. It's about an elephant's ass, and consider America an elephant, and fucking Vermont's the pimple, and he fucked that up. Then he ran the VA into the shitter. The VA, I work there every day. I go into East Orange VA. It is horrific how the veterans are treated. And he was in charge. They were underfunded, mismanaged, completely terrible, just the way they're terrible treatment, terrible outcomes, terrible everything.
Yeah.
And then people were saying, we want him to be our president. And I'm laughing saying, the guy can't even run a fucking pimple on an elephant's ass. And you want this guy to be
it's going to be free
Feel
stuff,
the burn. Yeah.
man.
Because you want to pay off a fucking your college loan.
You just don't understand because like you never lived that lifestyle.
Yeah, I heard it all the time.
Oh, God.
I heard it all the time. And what ultimately what it comes down to, because I used to love this, 'cause back in the day, 12 years ago, they all hated McCain, and I don't like McCain either. But their mantra was another old white guy. That's what they said. Yeah. He looked old. He was old, and he fits that description perfectly. What the fuck is Bernie Sanders?
I know.
He's an old white guy. Old white guy. But he's different. They think of him as different. When 10 years ago they were ragging on McCain. If you put McCain and him together, they both look about the same.
I know.
They're both dead man walking.
I don't know. It's this culture of gimme freeness.
Yeah.
It ran rampant now for like 10 years, almost a decade, and this is what's been going on.
Well, I always look back at every Democratic-run city, major city in America, since the 60s is a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
I can run here in New Jersey. We got Trenton and Newark, Camden, 3 shitholes.
Yeah.
Up to dead up their ass. Then you have Detroit, shithole. Cleveland, shithole. I can go on. And they're all, if you look, they're all Democratic run. Einstein, or I think Einstein said the definition of over and over again, expecting a different result.
That is the definition.
And I think finally America woke up and isn't insane, to get back to your point of why we voted for Trump, because we didn't want to have another asshole in there like Bush, the last 4 years of Bush, like Obama, and Hillary Clinton would have been, because basically George W. Bush last 4 years was a complete fuck up. He took an economy that was in the black a little bit and brought it into the red. Then what you did is you took fucking Barack Obama and put Bush's policies on steroids, because they're the same. I love that these liberals hated George W. Bush so much, but they loved Obama. If you go back and look and compare the two of them, they're exactly the same, except Obama's are sped up 100. If Bush drove down the street at 65, fucking he got out of the car. Obama grabbed that car and went up to about 150 and rode it up the fucking. He ripped that shit up, and but they love him and they hate him, which makes no sense, because if you look side by side, it's the same thing. And if you ever had Hillary Clinton, it would have been. So people woke up, and that's one of the reasons, to get back to your original question, who the fuck, America as a country has fallen into such disfavor in every aspect in 2016.
Noticeably.
Financially, economically, internationally. Yeah. We're not respected. Our military got fucking swamped. They destroyed our military. I think he cut the funding, like 98% of the funding. Yeah. We're supposed to be the superpower. You're making us a bunch of. He's like you're bending us over and having these little countries fuck us in the ass.
I hear a liberal talk about that. Well, your army's so big already. Why do you need to? Because we need to maintain our image. We need to maintain the superpower. Russia's nuclear subs are way more advanced than ours.
They are.
They're getting way more advanced in technology over there, and especially Israel is coming up big with their software and their tech industry.
Yep.
Like, if they don't help us and they start deciding to help other people, like, we're fucked.
Exactly. Hey, listen, I compare it. I love to bring discussions like this to the simplest of analogies. And this is what I like to say. All of us went to school. Let's go back to the days when we were in 6th grade or 8th grade, whatever. We're in the schoolyard and the bully comes up. The bully, who does he pick on? Probably picks on the little or semi-smallest kid in the schoolyard. Slaps him around, pushes him down, laughs, kicks him, whatever he does. Okay. What does he do to the kid who's bigger than him and tougher than him? He stays away from him. And that's what I use the analogy in the military. You want to be the biggest dog on the planet, the most powerful, the most technologically, have the attitude of, we're going to be cool, but you fuck with us, you're dead.
You're done.
And that's what I love.
Yeah.
We're not the aggressors. We don't go walking around the fucking planet when we're the most powerful, blowing people up. When someone fucks with us or fucks with in like an injustice, we take care of them. That's the way it's done.
That's the way we do it.
No, if the bully is the one that's always smacking the kid in the schoolyard, the toughest guy, he don't have to because everyone knows he's tough. He don't go around doing. He minds his own business. But when push comes to shove, he knocks the fuck out of you, and that's what we are. America used to be that. I think we're gonna get back there.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the huge push. Finally, I think people have had enough of liberalism. Finally, people are fed up with all the bullshit, and now you're starting to see it even with these protests. Now the clashing of heads are starting to start. Before it was just letting the left do what they had to do. Now it's like, all right, you've gone on a little too far.
Yeah.
And now we have to stick up for our dude.
Yep.
But I don't necessarily agree with all the violence, but sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it really is.
Absolutely.
To prove your point and to make sure people know like this isn't all right. What you're doing is fascism. What you call non-fascism and draconian is just exactly what you're portraying.
Exactly.
Doing. Why? All right, let's go back to why Trump is in.
Right. I just want to do one thing. I want to give a shout out to my buddy Doug Phelps on Facebook. He put up an awesome meme the other day. Meme. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. If I didn't correct you there, the whole world would have.
Meme. I don't even know what the fuck it is. Meme. Anyway, and he put up terrorism in Sweden.
Yeah.
And it showed a storefront being blown up. Terrorism in Germany. And then liberalism in America were identical, just different places in the world. And in Berkeley, they were doing the same thing. And I'm like, it's fucking domestic terrorism.
It's insane. Insane.
But I just want to get that out. So thanks, Doug.
And a lot of it is like, I don't want to be here and we're not going to just Obama bash the whole time.
No.
But a lot of it is like the arrogance of liberals, the arrogance of this man. A lot of people want to talk about how well-rounded. In the last podcast, I did say, I was like, Barack Obama was a decent speaker, but he was reading off teleprompters. And when the teleprompter failed, he failed.
Absolutely.
But as for speaking off a teleprompter, this man was a speaker off a teleprompter.
I completely agree. But that's the sad part, because to me, that makes you just that good at research.
He's a fucking actor. And that's what people like with this mainstream fucking news media. You see all the acting this guy does all day. That's all it was. And he was
acting.
Bill Burr put it best was when he said, fucking Trump, the whole reason this all happened was because of Obama. He trashed him at a fucking dinner.
Yeah.
At a fucking dinner. You think Trump was thinking about running for president before that?
Yep.
No. You probably didn't give a shit. And you make it personal with a man like that, you're done. You're dealing with a killer now.
He is a killer.
You're dealing with
He's an intellectual killer.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought this point up, because there's two things I love about Donald Trump. And like I said, he's the only man that could withstand from the media and the left.
Yeah.
We've seen it before. And I think I should discuss this. All three of the other clowns previously who were running, even Bush, they all used to fold up in the fetal position and let the media just bash them. And and literally
never go at them.
No, literally they all tapped out. They all quit. They intellectually quit. Yeah. Donald Trump is amazing. And I also think what you bring up a good point. You challenge that man, he pounds his chest. I don't give a fuck if he's 70 years old. The guy's got a work ethic like no other. Yeah. And he comes at you like a raging lunatic in a good way. Yeah. And he just bashes the shit out of you. And I would like to challenge anybody, whether you're middle of the road, whether you're independent, name one thing that he's said in the media that hasn't come true. I can list a bunch of them. He's been right on everything. He's been right on the voter fraud. He's been right on the immigration, the criminal element of the immigration. He's been right about ISIS. He's been right about pretty much everything. Russia, he was right. The DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA, three acronyms, investigated the fuck out of him, unturned every rock, every stone, and found nothing. And they explained that. That's what when me off so much that the media and the liberals kept talking about it, because they couldn't find anything. They kept trying, but they figured, let's just keep this in the forefront so we can ignore all our shitty things that we do.
That's all it was. His agenda to push their shit to the side.
But you're probably right. You challenge a man like him, he's up for a challenge. I
feel like that's what it was. I don't, I like to give Trump his credit, but I want to be real a little too. Like before in 2015, 14, he was probably on the top of his mind. He probably wanted to make America good, but he was a billionaire. He's a fucking billionaire.
He don't need to do this.
A playboy billionaire with a hot wife.
Yep, she's gorgeous.
And it's just like, He doesn't need this shit.
Right.
Like now he got challenged by an inferior president. Oh, you just
who's doing a shitty job.
Who was doing a shit like you just.
He probably laughing saying, "I could do this with my eyes closed."
And that's when it brings me back to the arrogance of this motherfucker. Oh my God! You really think that people can't do your job better than you, man? You were fucking Chicago, did shit, horrible goddamn senator.
Yep. A cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's like, dude. You were way in over your head. You thought you were better than you are, and you're being proven wrong. And now your legacy's getting.
Well, it's funny because people don't even know this about Barack Obama. When he ran for senator in Chicago, he ran against the primary. His Democratic candidate dropped out, so he ran unopposed. Then he was running against a Republican. There's a gentleman by the name of Tony Rezko who's in jail now. He got involved in the election. The Republican he got the election without even a vote. He didn't. He got fucking waltzed in, and that's probably George Soros money.
That's why they call him the chosen one.
Exactly.
Right,
and so that's you're right. He probably thinks he's arrogant because he never even had to work for anything. He was given, but his fucking credentials are as thin as a piece of paper, and they're as weak as one, a wet rag.
And it's so sad that he got paid that kind of money for being a president. Like,
yep.
Talk about undeserving.
Yep. And so you're right. I think what happened was he thought he was being funny probably, or you got like Donald Trump.
Can we I don't want to have too much dead air on this, but let's think for 1 second. What fucking policy did this dude pass that was good? Obama. What did he do that actually made this country safer and better? I think about this often. It's hard. It's really that was so good.
I don't.
That healthcare bullshit in my face, that is the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life.
Clusterfuck. Yeah. That's my business, a complete clusterfuck.
Exactly. I know you could go on and on.
And I'm not gonna, but because we all know about that, but it's a clusterfuck. I mean, everything he was wrong. I mean, all his economic stimulation plans failed miserably. They didn't stimulate shit. His jobs bills. And here's the thing I tell people, I'm like, do me a favor, go back in the 8 years he was president and see how many times he discussed the economy. I think he did it in the first year. He never did it again. Not once. When the fuck did he work?
When did he close Guantanamo Bay? When did he?
Right.
That's the other thing. People are getting on Trump about golfing. That's what kills me. How much did Obama golf?
He golfed more than any other human being. He golfed as much as pro golfers who get paid to do it.
That and their the one thing I hear about liberals, they're like, well, Trump bashed Obama about how much he golfed, how much he traveled, and he keeps traveling back and forth to Mar-a-Lago.
He's not taking a salary.
Listen, well, I got to say, you're right. Tough shit.
Right.
Obama did it. Now our guy's doing it.
He's working for free.
What's the up in arms now? How come everyone wasn't up in arms about Obama doing this, spending all this fucking money? And why is it only news when Trump does something bad?
And that's where lies the problem. You just answered the question, Sal. That answer. And I think that's where people in America who are normal, rational, intelligent people see the huge chasm that exists between a liberal and a conservative. Yeah. The liberal can make an excuse for anything, and they do.
And they get away with it.
And they got a huge double standard because they own the media and they do all that. Whereas a conservative walks crooked for a minute, and they're talking about it for fucking 3 weeks in the news.
See him, was he drunk? Was
right.
he doing something?
Exactly.
It's just like, oh God.
Exactly. and that's another thing. I got to give props where props is due. Democrats blindly follow their fellow Democrat or liberal. Man, they are loyal.
That is loyal to another level.
Almost fucking crazy loyal.
Subservient
exactly.
Loyalty.
They'll never say a word. Like you hardly ever hear a Democrat call out another Democrat. I think this past year, the governor in West Virginia, the governor, Joe Manchin, he came out for Donald Trump. They ousted him. They want him out because he spoke his mind.
Do you think that's mandate from the top? Like
probably, yeah.
Like who's running the show? Who's at the head of the table of DNC? There's probably two.
You just named it. I think he's the guy.
And the foundations, Obama
he's
Foundation, Clinton Foundation.
Yep, he's the guy. I mean, he's second richest man in the world.
How do you get all his money?
What he does is he's a piece of shit. What he does is he trashes economies around the world, and when the economies get in, rise, he makes billions.
So he just basically plays the stock market on,
and
like futures.
Well, he'll like what he'll do is he's done it a million times. You look at it and say he'll go into an African country that's maybe unstable, and he'll just have the fucking gangs or the warlords go in and fucking trash the economy. So their currency falls into the shit box. He comes in and invests a ton to build it up, and he walks out with billions, and he's been doing it for years, and he does it here in America, and that's what he's doing. So, but ultimately, his goal is he's an incredibly far left, anti-American jerk off. I don't even know. He's one of my most hated men in the planet.
Yeah,
he is and I hate his guts to death. I don't know why someone can't whack him. I wish they could. And now he's got a son who's another scumbag, and it's just. But like you said, these people are so powerful. People like you and me, it's like swimming upstream. We're never going to do it. You're just going to exhaust yourself.
I feel like that power just breeds corruption.
Of course.
I don't know. I want to say that people, when you get ultimate power, that someone might do good, but has there ever been history of that?
There has never.
So it's just kind of scary.
You go, it's funny if you're a person who likes history. You go back nowadays it's even worse because social media and
I'm all off of social media.
Yeah, even like the entertainment industry, because I see those fucking assholes. But go back to when there was none of this. Go back to Roman times. Go back to Greek times. Go back to when there were dynasties, Ming. There always was who wasn't happy with his standing in that dynasty or in that empire, and they fucked. They fucked the other person to get there. Because they were hungry and greedy for power, for money. And it's been going on for thousands of years. So what makes you think it's going to stop now?
I know. It's unreal. It's just getting worse now because now I feel like with technology, it's just speeding it up. Like speeding up the corruption.
Exactly. And what bums me out, and if I have to, not to get all sentimental, but what makes me sad, what makes me sad in today's world is, listen, we've come to accept as Americans that politicians are corrupt.
Yeah.
We know this. I can go on and on. It's been happening forever. They steal a lot of money. How the fuck do they have a $146,000 job and they come out net worth of $50 million? We know that's all bullshit. But what makes me really upset is that the media is in the tank. I mean, going back, very smart people back in the 1770s, 1800s, you say this cliche is mightier than the sword, because a journalist back in the day could bring somebody down with the truth. Nowadays, they don't even tell the truth.
Well, this is the reason, again, why I voted for Trump, is that I'm going to steal a line from Shawshank Redemption because I just watched it the other day.
A great movie.
Great movie. Donald Trump crawled through a river of shit and came out clean on the other side. All right? Like, he went through the fucking muckrake of everyone. Now, everyone's bullshit. Even Fox News, who was supporting him a little bit, even they killed him.
Absolutely.
And he came out clean. Winner on the other side. So that makes me somewhat positive that America saw through the bullshit.
Absolutely. I say this, and I know people, I used to get this a lot, even from some, I know we're sitting here bashing liberals, but I even have this conversation with some so-called conservative Republicans. They would say, oh, Donald Trump tweets too much, or he says some outrageous stuff. And he does. Yeah. But do you think he's that much of a simple guy? Because if you think about it, when he first went out there, what was he going against? 18 candidates?
Yeah.
He knew that I don't want to just be another camouflage person. I don't want to be just another figure of these 18. I got to stand out. Yeah. So what did he do?
Killed it.
He killed it. He made fun of people.
He gave everyone a nickname.
He branded them.
Yeah.
And everybody knew it.
Lion's Head.
Yeah. I mean, they said
they still stick. I still remember them.
I'm not mistaken. Didn't they say his first debate was the most watched debate in the history of our country?
I couldn't tell you.
I think it was because of him. Yeah. Everybody wanted to tune into Donald Trump because he had 18 people on the podium. People were falling off the fucking stage. There were so many. Yeah. And he's the only one that stood out. Exactly.
Do 2 shows.
I mean, 18 people. And then you get into the fact that he spent half of the money that he was supposed to spend, where Hillary she overspent like 18 times as much. So the guy was...
Where does that money get spent?
Right. So the guy was within budget, under budget. And I think he is... And all the shit people say about him, they say, "Oh, the guy is calculating. He's incredibly media savvy. He's knows how to earn a dollar. He also knows how to spend a dollar. He knows how to save a dollar, and he's incredibly wise when it comes to grabbing attention. He knows how to do it. He can push buttons so easily, and he's got like Teflon skin.
Yeah, he's fucking perfect.
You know how much he gets attacked more than any human being I've ever heard in my life. In the 90 days, well, we're not talking about, but I'm talking about since he's been president. Yeah. I've never heard a human being be attacked as much as him. You turn on every late night show, which I don't watch. I don't watch TV.
Don't watch any of them.
But you just Every late night show rags him every day, every night.
Mostly
Saturday
every
Night
podcast
Live
does too.
does, every podcast, every daytime show. The only reason why I know the daytime shows is I'm in the hospital every day. These usually have some bullshit show like The View or whatever the fuck those other bogus shows are called. All they do is rag on him all day long, and he don't care.
Let me ask you a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer this. What kind of words would Hillary Clinton have to say to you to make it worth $250,000? Just think about that. Like, she was getting $250,000 for her to talk to people.
Yep. And she was cheap.
Who the fuck wants the help she has to say? What is she doing? She's obviously promising pay for play.
Of course.
Obviously.
Yep.
Like, it's so obvious. Like, I can't even break it down any further. Like, it's to the core already. And that this is ignored by liberals. This is a completely, that's what they get paid. It's not what they get paid.
Her and Bill Clinton actually got paid $750 several times, which is sick.
I think like
for 30 minutes.
Over the course of all of it, they got untold millions. But it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? That the fact that this fraud is taking place, and that's like the most underlying thing that they do.
Yeah.
They're getting paid to speak astronomical numbers that they are not worth. And that people see right through. Well, yeah, it was the Clintons. Get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit.
This is a true story. Probably around 13 years ago, my company sponsored this healthcare crisis thing, and the speakers were David Dinkins, and the keynote speaker was Bill Clinton. So I'm going into this, I knew how fucked up this was going to be. Yeah. So I started drinking like a madman. we had 2 hours. I was drinking my bourbon and slammed a few beers down because it was hot. And so David Dinkins is talking, and he, believe it or not, I'm not a David Dinkins fan, but he didn't get political, and I appreciate that. And he was actually kind of cool. And he actually mentioned some healthcare stuff, which was applicable to the meeting. So he was okay. And then he leaves, and then Bill Clinton comes on, and Bill Clinton just starts droning on and on about nonsense. So in the middle of him speaking, now think about this, our table is dead center front. And so I got to take a piss. So my boss is like, you can't get up. You can't disrespect a living U.S. president. I said, I can. I said, I can. I'm getting up.
And I will.
So I got up, and people were staring at me like I committed a fucking crime. So I go take a leak. I come, and I don't come back. I wait. I stay in the back. I didn't want to come back. I waited. Yeah. Because I think he had another like 10 minutes or something, or 15 minutes. I come back, and I got fucking ridiculed. Kid. And I was like, fuck you. I'm like, I don't have to sit here and listen to this bullshit. If you elect to do it. And I actually think that people were coming up to me and going, I can't believe you got up when Bill Clinton was talking. I'm like, this isn't fucking Jesus. He was talking nonsense. And I just laughed at the liberal thought process. How could you get up? I'm like, easy. I got up and walked out.
That's a problem, I feel like, with that mentality, is that they put people in the form of a deity. And it's just like, no. These are all people, even the people that you look up to in life, everyone that you look up to, no matter who it is. I'm not saying you personally, I'm saying anyone in general. They're all people.
Of course.
They're all human beings. They all have to fucking wake up and take a shit in the morning. Like, they all do it.
And we all make mistakes, and some more than others, but everyone, there's no such thing as perfection in this world.
So, like, don't be looking up and taking word for word whatever these people say to you. It's just like, they're not. Most likely, your best interest isn't their best interest, and most likely they don't give a shit about what the fuck you want. Absolutely. They're in it for themselves. That's why they're politicians, is make money.
Yeah.
And I can go on and on about other professions that are in it just to make money, that people think they're there to help them. They're not. They're there to make money.
Remember that. And that's fine. Like, that's fine. But when you start fucking people over, then we have a problem. And the one thing I don't understand, it seems to me like, and I think, and maybe I'm being skewed because I'm conservative, but I think as a fact, conservatives do call each other out, or they call out Republicans. Like, I'll be honest with you right now. I'm a conservative, a fiscal conservative. I fucking hate McCain, McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Boehner, and a few others. I don't like Paul Ryan.
These are all assholes just gumming up the works.
And all they're doing. So these are, now you will never hear a liberal say the same thing about Pelosi, Schumer,
and they all know that they're fucking idiots.
And they're idiots.
Like, they all know it too.
And they won't say it.
So what is that? I mean, I for a second, I do credit them, like you said before. That is some loyalty, blind loyalty.
Blind.
But you're blind to a fault, and it's going to come up and just kill you in the end. Like,
they're never going to win another election in our lifetime if they don't change.
I mean, we can speculate on that too. Do you really think that these two parties are going to be around for that much longer?
I don't know. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I think the liberal left is so fucked up. Like,
I mean, the right is really fucked up.
They are. Well, the right, yeah, the Republicans are some fucked up. Like,
I feel like both extremes. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. I agree.
Both extremes are so fucked up.
Extremes are always fucked up in general.
But I feel like what happened in this past election pushed the majority of people who were in the middle. A lot of them now go to the extreme where I feel like that me and you were in the middle and a few other people that we know are in the middle. I feel like we're the minority now. People that are actually thinking like, all right, well, some of this is good, some of this is bad.
Right.
And we acknowledge truths, fallacies. We understand what the hell's actually going on. We're not just like, oh, well, they said they were going to do it. They didn't do it yet, but I'll hold out hope. No, it's never going to happen. Like if they didn't do it when they said they were going to do it by, it's never going to happen.
The inner city is a perfect example. We just talked about 50 years of decimation, never addressed.
Guantanamo Bay.
Another thing.
Get the fuck out of here.
Exactly. And here's another thing that I think we're talking about current events and liberal lunacy. And I don't care what anybody says, because I witness both ends. I do my research. I've attended some events at you want to call it a conservative rally, you want to call it a Trump rally, whatever you want to call it. I see people who are cool.
Yeah.
They're not aggressive. They're not looking to fucking punch somebody out.
No.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I have seen there's not. What happens though, into this earlier, is people like us are getting fucking fed up.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, there's a true story, and everyone can look this up. It's called Agent Provocateurs. You know about that? I saw that. Soros. It's
exactly.
It's a real thing. They're paid
without a doubt.
Agent Provocateurs to go into these rallies, into these protests, and make trouble.
Absolutely.
And then what happens? They get scurried off into like a building by the police. It calms down, hushes, and they get to go.
Yeah.
Because they were paid by the police to do this shit.
Yep. Well, there's a guy I went to college with. His name's James O'Keefe.
And that's Rutgers. Not a conspiracy. People.
No, this is not a conspiracy. There's a dude named James O'Keefe went to Rutgers with me. He's an undercover journalist. He has a thing called Project Veritas. Yeah. Exactly what you said. He has on tape. Yeah,
it's the truth.
And because he basically went undercover saying that he was one of them, and he has at least 8 different people saying exactly what you said. So my boy Sal's 1000% correct. This is fact. It's not speculation, not assumption. It's fact that these people are going out starting fights.
Paid to start fights. With people who are peacefully protesting.
Paid.
And just because they support Trump.
Right. Paid. And then and then we can go back into current events. Yeah. Talking about UC Berkeley.
Well, that is current. So that was probably some of that going on.
UC Berkeley, they have I saw the video. They had a kid who was a Berkeley student walking down the middle of the promenade or whatever.
Yeah.
A masked man. And I know this sounds fucking gay, like the Lone Ranger, but a guy had a bandana across his face. Only you could see his eyes, and you could see he had something in his hand. He didn't have his fist. He had something shining. It turns out that he has a master lock.
Oh,
so
God.
He comes up from behind, not facing the guy, and he cracks the kid in the back of the skull, and the kid opens up immediately, goes down bleeding. Guy runs away. Well, someone had him on a video. This piece of shit gets apprehended. They find out that this scumbag is a community, what do you call it? A community professor that's affiliated with Berkeley. His name's Eric Clanton, Clanton, and I have his email for anyone that we can email this prick. And here's a guy who's paid by the parents of that student. He's making a salary, and he's supposed to be teaching them whatever he teaches.
Sucker punching them.
And he's sucker punching them because they don't believe what he believes. That's fucking disturbing. That's on the border of lunacy. Like we talked about.
This is lunacy.
It's lunacy.
This is insanity going on. Just we're at the breaking point, brink point, whatever the edge of whatever you want to call it. And that video that everyone was so quick to judge and go crazy on of the white nationalist guy punching a woman in the face. People, do you understand?
Yes.
Like, yes, hitting a woman is very wrong, and you are never in any circumstance should you do that. This woman was putting M80s in glass bottles.
Yes, she was.
You know what an M80 will do to a glass bottle when you throw it and you light it? It's going to create shrapnel.
It could fucking kill someone.
It's going to get in people's eyes. It's going to get. It could kill somebody.
And listen, and
that's what she was doing.
That's what she was doing.
And you know, he had to put an end to it. Maybe he didn't do it in the most.
No, I kind of think he's right.
I kind of do too, but I don't want to condone hitting a woman.
Right. No,
that's never right.
She can never. Here's how I look at things.
Bullet protect.
She loses her credibility as a woman.
Exactly. No,
she turns into a combatant.
I completely agree.
If you bottle and it has a wide opening like a Snap one, you throw an M80 in there and you're tossing it into a crowd of people. you could hurt. You become a terrorist at that moment.
Yeah, I know, but maybe just kind of grab her, lay on her. So you can't be hitting her.
What happens
because you're so much stronger as a man.
Well, I look at it this way. What happens if?
But I completely. Sometimes you got to.
What happens if she lights it and drops it?
Yeah, and then that's a fucking bomb right there.
Well, then
you make her drop right on top of it.
Exactly. But that's the whole. That's someone who is. They lose anymore. You become a combatant, a terrorist, because that's what you are. Because you hurt somebody.
It's true feminism, right?
Exactly. Exactly. You hurt someone. That's pretty fucked up. I mean, it's a fucked up thing.
Yeah, that when I heard that story, because even I was like, I'm like, oh, that looks
bad. It did look,
that looks bad. Like, do you know why he did that? Do you understand what that group is doing?
That's what liberals love to do. They love to take that one little picture and then
it's a horrible snapshot too. But then when you read the true story behind it,
the liberals don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear the whole story.
And that goes back to why we voted for Trump. They didn't want to hear it.
They don't want.
We wanted to like. If you were living in half this country, 60 million Americans were living this way, at least they felt this way, unjustly in this country.
Yep.
Things were going on around them they could not control, and they felt like this country was going in the shitter. So we came out, we've had the tsunami rush for Trump, and all you see lately is just a backlash. Still 4 months deep, almost.
Right. Yeah.
It's just
we're working on 100 days.
And they still can't even fathom how we got elected. And this is, I'm just like, wow, these fucking people are out.
You're never going to.
You're never going to convince them
No.
that, people actually, right-minded people, intelligent people, people who work, really wanted this guy in there. We really were scared.
You want change.
Like how scared they are of him is how scared I was of Hillary.
And
I'm going to tell you right now, I was 10 times more scared of Hillary than I am of Trump.
Yeah, I just didn't think that our country could handle another 4 years of this shit. I wasn't scared in the sense that I thought something was going to happen or nothing, but I was just in a place where I was like, economically, our economy hasn't been addressed forever.
Well, that's the reason I said I was scared, because if it was so bad already, what was it going to be?
Obamacare is a complete and utter
There was going to be
disaster.
another bubble. There was going to be another
doubt.
fucking crazy disaster.
Yeah, it's funny because when someone says to me, "Why'd you vote for Trump?" I could make a laundry list. Yeah. And I know it's probably not the most entertaining way to do it, but you could just come out with fact after fact. Like you can come back with like, well, economy, jobs, deficit, taxes, middle class destruction, our position around the world falling, our credit rating being downgraded twice, inner city decimation, the rise of ISIS, military weakening, we can't defend ourselves, corruption, theft, murder, and political correctness. Boom. That's why.
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, and it's
and every one of those an hour and give examples.
I've been stuck on the corruption on this podcast the whole time. I can't. That's what for me, as and I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time I ever voted. I didn't vote in any other previous elections, anything. I was just so willed. I was like, this bitch. I'm sorry. Right. Sorry to use that term for this woman. This bitch cannot win.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. This got me in trouble on Facebook, but I don't care because you'll never look at egos again. But they're the same way. But I call Hillary Clinton a twat waffle. I love the word. I think that's what she is. And if you look at the Urban Dictionary, a twat waffle is just an old, wrinkled up that's never been used, and that's what she is. Oh, and women hate this. Oh my God, I got bashed off. How can you say that? Like they went fucking crazy on me.
Yourself.
And I said, I go, that's what she is. I mean, do you understand? And I'll say this: in our lifetime, you being your age, me being age, and you could look, and we could use a fictitious guy like Tony Montana, which is Scarface, obviously. Yeah. But anyway, who would you say in your years on this planet is the most outside politics is the most corrupt, most felonious, most criminal organization that you could think of?
Yeah, like the mob, something like
I
that.
I think the mob was Pablo Escobar, maybe.
Yeah, drug dealers, drug cartels.
Yeah, cartels. The Colombia cartels. Hillary Clinton makes them look like fucking like playtime.
Like her murders are like
at least
those murders get investigated.
When somebody when he blows up, people are at his house.
Yeah.
Or his mansion or wherever the fuck it is. People are there. Her Cold Case. Like, isn't there a show called Cold Case?
Yeah.
I think Cold Case, I used to watch the show on fucking CBS. It's like, no one knew about it for 30 years, and all of a sudden one of the guys she has, I don't understand. There's no weapon, no witness, no motive, no jack shit. Not even questioning her.
No, nothing. No, she had nothing to do with it.
And that just goes to show you
It's
that
like you worked with this guy directly for how many years? For how many
like
months?
100 of them.
He had all your what? He had all your email,
Right. Yeah.
your password secrets. All right.
Right.
It's just like, oh, how you don't put two and two together? Well,
I think
what it is they don't even care to hear. They don't even know this guy. Like, who is he? I bet if I brought it up to half of them, like, who is that guy?
they don't know any of them.
It's just like, oh, this is sad.
Yeah.
Been blindfolded and fucking put through the gauntlet of Democratic bullshit.
Right. And I think, and then if you're one of those people who stand up, you end up dead. And people are afraid to die. I mean, people don't want to die.
I wouldn't want to die.
No, I mean,
Not for fucking Hillary
and plus
Clinton.
you're dealing with a machine. You're dealing with a power machine that has useless amounts of funding. George Soros is backing them, which we know what she is. Billions. What's someone going to do who works for a newspaper? Who's what someone's going to do like you or me? We'll end up, these guys all end up dead.
That's a fucking crazy lunatic fucking filled world we live in.
I mean, there's a dude named, and I don't think this is funny. It's not funny, but there's a dude whose name's Gary Johnson, not the political candidate guy, a guy in Arkansas. And he happened to be Jennifer Flowers' next door neighbor. And what happened was went on 60 Minutes and called Jennifer Flowers all these names. And that's the pathetic thing is Hillary Clinton called her a whore. He called a groupie. My husband Bill didn't even know her. All this crazy shit. Well, Gary Johnson had the video. He set up a tripod like we have, and he took video of Bill going out of her apartment 103 times, or a condo. So word got out that this gentleman had it. So guess what happened to him? 4 huge Arkansas security guys broke into his apartment, left him for dead, broke every bone in his body, and somehow he survived. They called it a robbery. But guess what? When they went into the apartment, his place was completely trashed. The only thing taken was the videotape. His money was there. They beat it. So the guy was supposed to die, and now he's in hiding because he's so afraid of coming out. I don't blame him. But no one got convicted. No one even got charged.
Why would they?
Wait, let's. All right, now you and I, Sal, we watch our episodes of NYPD Blue, and we watch our cop shows, whatever. And we're going up there and we're saying, okay, let's go investigate this crime. He was robbed. Okay, what was stolen? Was your jewelry stolen?
Nope.
No. Was your money taken?
Nope.
How about his TV?
Nothing.
Wait, a Bill Clinton video with Jennifer Flowers was taken. Wow, you have to be a fucking genius to figure out the motive behind that one, but never even questioned.
And the thing is, like, they would, like, the media, mainstream news, even, programming, they make fun of Trump's family.
All the time.
Complicit is the word I remember them using right when they're complicit with him. Hillary Clinton isn't complicit with Bill Clinton and his fucking bullshit. Are they? Like, this is the thing.
This is the double standard we're talking about.
I know. This is like we were listening.
Hypocrisy.
We were listening to the liberal podcast before we came on here to rile us up.
Yeah.
What do we want to do? We want to just jump through that fucking screen and bring this Australian fuck's neck out. What the fuck does he know?
American.
He doesn't know shit.
Right.
He doesn't, when I say he doesn't know shit, he doesn't know the side that we're coming from. We see the fraud with them. We see the bullshit. They assume that Trump is going to do horrible things in the future.
They said it to me.
They assume it. They don't even, they're going based on assumptions. And last time I remember, this is from my grandma, and she has some very keen points. What happens when you assume? You make an ass out of yourself. You make an ass out of me.
Yeah, that's been
what happens when you assume, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've been, in my job, when I have some downtime, I might go to a coffee shop here and there, not Starbucks, but I go to more like a local one. Anyway, I remember there's this dude who says Trump's going to be impeached. I said, for what? And he goes, I don't know, but I just feel it.
Yeah. Like their feelings.
And that's the embodiment of the fucked up mind of a liberal. Your feelings don't mean jack shit. I don't think you give a shit. I definitely don't give a fuck what they're feeling. Give me some facts, motherfucker. That's how we discuss shit. Facts. Evidence-based stuff. Your feelings, what does that mean?
See, and even as a Trump supporter, to delve into a different little area, like, we saw the liberal side of it. We saw, like, damn, she's got a lot of support. And it's kind of scary. Like, why does she have the support? But as the liberal side, and I don't know this because I'm not a liberal, but I felt like the liberals lived in such a bubble during the election. They're like, well, obviously Hillary's going to win. Do you know anybody who likes Trump? I don't know anybody who likes Trump. It's going to be a landslide for Hillary, obviously.
Right.
And it's just like, because they didn't think. They didn't even go through it.
They were arrogant. You mentioned the arrogance.
So arrogant and so blissful.
It's
dumb.
It's funny. And I don't watch much TV. I don't watch a lot of network TV, but I do watch some shows. But let me tell you some of the shows I watched that they are shows based on either politics, like a House of Cards, or a Homeland based on terrorism. Every one of those shows is kind of like a current event show that's running in modern time. Every one of them shows had Hillary Clinton. They had a Hillary Clinton-like person being the new president. Not one had Donald Trump winning. And that just goes to show you the arrogance of their party, her arrogance. Because here's what I always said, Sal, and I never understood this. I would hear this shit from liberals all the time, and I say, I don't understand something. Something's not adding up to me. How is it Hillary Clinton had a rally yesterday and 312 people showed up? That's it. And she probably paid half of them to come. Yeah. Or she had to have Jay-Z there or some fucking douchebag like that, Beyonce. 312 people. You go to a Trump rally, there's 60,000 people. Yeah. 30 in the building, 30 outside. What does that tell you? That's never. It's unprecedented. It never has happened before.
That's what it comes down to. It's just like, we see through your bullshit. We see through that liberal bullshit. And like they're like, well, you know what's bullshit? It's fake. We're living a fake fallacy right now.
Yeah.
They wanted this. They make believe that if Hillary Clinton got in, that everything would be perfect right now.
It was not.
It would be so.
Here's another funny thing. This is why I think we have some credibility. Even though we're fiscal conservatives, we consider ourselves on the right side of a Republican. We could sit here logically and rag on G.W. Bush his last 4 years because we look at things objectively. I do it all the time. I rag on George W. Bush all the time. And it's not that I dislike him, but I actually feel he's just another liberal. He spent like a liberal. He acted like a liberal. And that's
circle.
He is, and that's a whole nother thing we can get into. But to me, we call a spade a spade. Yeah. I don't care about. I'm not party. What do you call it? No, I'm not party driven. Where I'm going to say I love that guy. No. Just like we talked about. But they'll never do that. Really, I never. If it is, you tell me. I haven't heard it. I haven't heard a liberal come out against another Democrat candidate. And even to this, very rarely, Bernie Sanders, who I dislike, I'll come right out. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he sucks. Isn't he's a socialist. He's a pussy. But with that being said, Bernie Sanders got bent over, fucked by the DNC and Hillary. That's proven. It's
proven. Don't even care.
And they said jack shit. And guess what he did? He was supposed to be this radical guy who I'm a revolutionary. $660,000 and owns a beach house in California now. He took the money like every other politician. He was a little fucking puppet. Soros or Clinton were pulling his strings. Now, whether they threatened him or his wife or his family, I don't know.
So did he give half that money to the schools and stuff like he wanted?
No, he didn't give shit.
Man.
Exactly. If we have any liberals watching this, for all you Bernie supporters, and we do know a couple who said spread the wealth.
Yeah.
Bernie didn't spread it.
He took it.
Bernie took the 660 and bought a sweet house on the beach.
On a beach, Santa
Monica. On the beach. Exactly.
Oh, God.
And so, listen, I always say, if you're going to talk the talk, you walk the walk. Yeah. And liberals never walk the walk. Never. And Bernie supporters are the worst. They spread the wealth. No, the wealth is only good. They want you and I to spread our wealth. They want to keep theirs. And that's been proven. Bernie does it all the time. And that's a fact. Look it up. Sal's right. He's got a house in Malibu or whatever the fuck. One of them. Yeah, one of these.
Somewhere in Southern California.
Yeah, and he's living large. And on the money that she paid him to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's without a doubt.
Take it like a good little boy, pat him on the ass, and get the fuck out of here. Or else.
I know.
Or else.
Do we want to keep going? Any other topics? You want to bring this home?
We could probably bring it home. I think. Bring it home? Yeah, we'll bring it home.
This is good. All right, everyone. I just want to let you know that we are going to have these videos up on YouTube. We are going on Facebook Live now, but on YouTube, I'm going to break them down minute by minute, so you don't have to sit there and watch the whole thing. I'm going to break it down so you can skip ahead if you like.
And Sal, explain what RED again stands for again, because I think it's good.
RED is we are the reasonable, enlightened deplorables. This is the RED podcast. We've come to bring you the true facts, none of this liberal bullshit.
Yeah, and I think it's great because we are all deplorable. But RED, as you know, also stands for the party. a party, which I think's that Sal. Now I got to give credit to Sal. He's the guy who found that. It's ingenious. So he named it. He found it. So that's props to Sal. And next week.
Next week.
We'll out.
All right, love you guys.
Peace. See you guys all week.